Hello, and thank you for taking the time to watch my video on WordPress version 3. Throughout this video, you're going to see many useful features of WordPress as it relates to portfolio usage, as well as individual blogging. Through the course of the video, we're going to cover all of the advanced features of WordPress, ranging from posts to how to upload media, as well as how to create pages, and as well as the appearance of your blog. We'll cover the multiple settings that are involved in WordPress, as well as how to get started from the very beginning. We're going to be using social work portfolios as an example in this video, but this applies to any WordPress network site out there. This video will continue to be available online for future viewings, and it will be available for download as well from the site that it's hosted on. You can at any time pause the video to take notes, or you can skip back through the video in case you missed something. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to notice when you go to log into your account is that you receive two different emails from whatever site you've been registered for. The first one is going to have your username and password for your account, and the second one's going to tell you that you have a portfolio site. The first one here that I'm going to look at tells me that my username is video, that I've created just for this test video, and that my password is a bunch of random characters. We can change this password later on, so don't be discouraged by the length and complexity of this password. I'm actually going to go ahead and right-click on copy this because I don't feel like typing all of that. I'm going to go back to the results and see the other email that I received. This email here is just to let me know that a site has been created for me. It gives me the URL to my site, students.swpro.org/video. This site is going to be your permanent URL for your portfolio. Whatever that says is going to be there indefinitely. It tells you now that you can log into the administrator account with the following information: the username video and the password that we just copied from the original email. Now I'm going to point out something here. Rather than log in with this email, or this URL right here, which if I click on that, it's actually going to take me to the dashboard for WordPress. Now I'm going to go ahead and log out here and show you how to log in for that one. Click log out. Great. Now once I open this again, it's going to bring me to the login page. I'm going to go ahead and type video, and I'm going to paste that password. Show that there. I'm going to right click and paste the password that we copied out of the email. And I don't want to remember it right now since we're going to be changing that later on. And when you first log in using this link from the first email, what you're going to see is your network homepage. Now this is not your own personal blog. This is the page that's been set up for your individual network, in this case social work portfolios. This you cannot change. You are just a member of this site in order to be able to have your own portfolio. Now from here, if I choose to actually click on this link, in case you should do that, if you ever get to your network homepage, it's really easy to get to your own blog. You would just come up here, hover over My Sites, and you'll see your site. You can either click on this right here, or I can come over here and click on Dashboard. I'm not going to do that because I want to show you how to get to it from the second email. So I'm just going to close out of that. And I'm going to come back here to my search results. I'm going to click on the second email. Now, if I never clicked on the first one and I just click on this one right here, it's going to ask me to log in. But since we've already done that, it's going to bring me to my dashboard. And the dashboard is going to be something you're going to use a whole lot in WordPress. It covers all the features that you're able to use and gives you many different accounts of all the information you would receive on your blog. Right here on the home page, it's welcoming us to the new WordPress site. Now WordPress has just updated to version 3 point whatever, which means they've made a bunch of changes, and that calls for a new video. Now these changes are things that are not going to be permanent. The looks may change, as well as maybe the structure of the buttons, but overall the standard features will stay the same. So I'm going to just go ahead and dismiss this. Now from here I can see the standard dashboard, which is telling me how many posts I have, how many different pages, how many categories, comments, how many have been approved, how many are pending. Now I don't have anything on this blog yet, so it's obviously a very simple blog. It actually will even show me recent comments here, and this is the default comment that WordPress puts on there. I can see WordPress news, as well as if I want to just upload a really quick post, I can just type the title, the content, and hit publish directly from here. That's a little bit about how the dashboard works. The button below that says My Sites. This will list all of the sites you have on the network. Ordinarily, you'll probably only have one. In some instances, if you're a part of a class or something, you may be added to a class site to be able to manage that. In that case, you would see another little box like this that has the class site. You could visit the dashboard for that as well. Now, the very first tab that we're going to see here on the left is the Posts tab. You notice that if I hover over this, it brings up all of the features of posts. I can either just click on those without having to actually come over here. It kind of saves a step. But for now, I'm going to click on this just for demonstration purposes. So when it comes up with posts, you notice that it expanded all of those things that we saw before. And it comes up here with all of the posts that I've created. Now, since I haven't created any, we only have one. It's pretty easy to see and manage all of them just from this one page. If you get to the point where you have several dozen posts or even hundreds of posts, you can sort it by pages. What it will do is it'll come up here and you can just click next page. It'll be right up here. Now I'm actually going to go to the next feature down, which is add new. Let's say I just want to do an example post. I'm going to set a title on that. I'm going to call that example. I'm going to say example text here. Now, I want to point out really quick that when you go to edit text, it's very much like using a basic word processor. Now, Microsoft Word tends to be a lot more complicated than this, so you don't have quite as many features as you do in Word. But inside of the basic text editor here, they try to make some things very simple. For instance, I'm going to click on bold, and you notice that it's bold. I can italicize it. I can even strike through. I can also do bullets as well as numbering. I can encase it in quotes. Now, for whatever reason, quotes are offset, which causes that to display like this and italicized. It makes it a lot easier if you're going to quote somebody. You just copy whatever you want to quote and just hit that button, and then it makes it look really inset, very italicized and nice. I can also choose to have things centered if I want, or even justified to the right. You'll notice that since I'm using a widescreen computer, it only accounts for regular display sizes. So what we have is a box about yay big. And from here, you can see that even the right justified is not all the way across my screen. I'm going to go ahead and justify that left. If I want to hyperlink that to make it go to a different page, all I have to do is click on the hyperlink. I can actually make that go to google.com. I can make it open in a new window if I so choose, and add that link there. You'll notice that it's now blue and hyperlinked. If I put my mouse over that, it's a little underlined. Works just like it does on the internet. Now, if I want to insert more tag, I'm just going to go to the next line here. What this would be useful for is if you have a bunch of posts on one page, I can insert this, and then whatever else I type below here will not show on my home page. I can type more down here, and you'll see when we view the site that this is only visible after you click more on the home page. I can even have a spell checker that will go through and tell me that I didn't make any spelling errors, thankfully. I can even spell check in multiple languages. Toggle full screen mode, I haven't used that a whole lot. I'm kind of afraid to do it while watching a video. We'll give it a shot. Actually, that's working amazingly well. Apparently, this is just a nice full screen editor if you just want to not have the distractions of the rest of the page. It even fades away when you're not moving the mouse. So if you just want to type, you can just add that white background, simple, clean, and you can just type. I'm going to go ahead and exit full screen now. And as you see, it just fades back to where you were before. Now, if you want to do some more advanced editing of the text, you have to open what they call the kitchen sink. I've been asked why that's called that, and to be honest, I have absolutely no idea. It's something WordPress has encoded into their system, and from what I can tell, it can't be changed. So once you open the kitchen sink, you'll see that you have more advanced options. Like I'm going to go here and click on paragraph. You'll notice that I can now choose the default size of the font. Now this uses a more HTML-based approach. It doesn't have a bunch of 12-point font or anything like that, but you can choose from a heading 1, heading 2, all the way down to heading 6. You can use regular paragraph as well as pre-formatted. For most things, you're going to want to choose to use paragraph just for standard text. If you do have a heading inside of your text, I would choose to do heading 1. You can even change that down to heading 2. Now you'll notice that it is not changing the actual size of the font. That would be due to the fact that we're editing in the basic font editor. Some font editors do not allow you to change the size. That depends on the content of the font you have inside the window. Now I can go through to the next one here and click on the color. I can change it to red as well as yellow, or whatever you so choose. And I'm going to go ahead and reset that to black. Now these buttons here are paste as plain text or paste from Word. For instance, if you have a whole document in Word, and I don't have one to test right now, but you can just copy that, hit Control A or Apple A on a Mac. You can just copy that entire content from inside that Word document and hit this button to paste it from Word. Now this button here will remove all formatting that you've done. So you have a bunch of different bold or italicized or heading 1 or different colors. You can just hit that button to remove all of them. Now this would be if you want to insert a custom character. It actually brings up a custom character box and will let me insert whatever I want. I can do accents this way and that kind of thing. That's very useful as well. Now these would be if you want to indent something. Let's say it would be much like a tab inside of Word. It just keeps it indented, helps to organize things or format them correctly, however you so choose. The undo button is always useful, as with any program. And so I'm going to go ahead and publish this. But before I do, I want to cover categories and tags. Oftentimes people find it very beneficial to tag their posts. So I'm going to come down here to the tags. And I'm just going to tag it as a blog post. Now if I type it and hit enter, you notice it comes down here. And it also has a little X which I can delete it with. I'm going to also type example as a tag. Now I'm going to come back up here. I don't have any categories yet. We're going to talk about that next. So for now, I'm just going to tag it as uncategorized and hit publish. Once it's been published, I can just come over here and click View Post. I'm going to open it in a new tab to not lose where we're at. And you'll see this is what my site looks like. Now this is called the 2011 theme. It's a WordPress default theme, and this is what all users will have to begin with. You'll notice that when you refresh the page, you generally get a different background or a different image up here every time you refresh, just a part of the theme. But on my home page, I'm going to just click on home page. You'll see you can view all of the posts that I have. Now I do have a Hello World post that WordPress created for me, as well as my example post we just made. Now you'll notice that I have example text here. Now if you click on that, as we told it to, it opened Google and it opened it in a new tab. However, the more that we typed is not there, because as we said, unless you click continue reading, you can't actually see everything that was below that line. Once we click that though, you have the option to see the full content of the post. Going back to my post here, I want to point out something very crucial to a lot of people when they use their site for a portfolio usage. You'll notice how on this here you can leave a reply. A lot of people have found that to be increasingly difficult to handle since WordPress can be subject to a lot of spam. A lot of people just enjoy turning that off entirely. So the way that I'm going to do that is going to be to come up here to the top. Under Screen Options, I'm going to click that little arrow. You're going to see only a few of these are checked. I'm going to actually come over here and check Discussion and Comments. And I'm going to go ahead and click that arrow again to close it. Now you'll see under the discussion area, I have two checkboxes. I'm just going to go ahead and uncheck both of those and hit Update. Now coming up here and clicking on the next tab which was categories, we're going to see that there are options to create categories as well as just having uncategorized. This can be useful if you are making several different types of posts and you want to organize them by category so that readers can just click on, news or blog or something like that, or personal maybe. So I'm just going to make a personal category. The slug is the URL friendly version of the name. That just means that if you have a space or something up here, it would put a dash in it. Or you would want to put a dash in it down here. We don't have one, so I'm just going to put person, all lowercase. The parent category, it doesn't have to be within a category, so we're just going to leave that alone. I'm just going to say personal posts. I'm going to hit add new category. We're going to see that we now have person as well as the rest. I'm actually going to edit that really quick. Lost in the middle of a thought. I'm going to name that personal for personal posts. Update that. That's how you would update a category. The same would apply down here with the tags. You can see tags that you have used. When you automatically add a tag, it automatically adds it into this page, so you don't have to make new tags. However, you can make a new tag if you choose to make it before you add it to a post, but it's not required for you to add it to a post. Now you see if it has the two tags that we've used, and I can come over here and click on the one. It's going to show me which post used that tag. That's useful if you want to organize your own stuff within the dashboard for people who have many posts and that kind of thing. Coming down here to the Media tab, I'm going to just go ahead and click on that. And you'll see that we have no types of media. I'm going to actually add a new type of media. A lot of people choose to actually add all of the content they want to use, all of their documents and everything, just through the Media tab. It helps to keep them more organized and helps people understand one portal that they can go to upload. So I'm just going to click Add New here. It's going to bring up a nice little window like this where I can either drop files from my desktop or select files. I'm going to demonstrate both here. Come over here, view my desktop. I have a bunch of example files. I'm going to take example PDF. I'm just going to drag it over here and drop it. Notice that down here, it's crunching and now it's been uploaded. I can title this whatever I want. Leave it as example PDF. The description I'll put as an example PDF document. It actually gives me the URL of this, should you ever need that. If you want to send it through an email or something, that's actually been uploaded already. So I'm going to go ahead and save all changes. Now you can see I have one example PDF, one file. I can actually do it by show all dates, or I can sort them by month. The nice part about this is it keeps your documents organized. So if you have a whole lot of different work or that kind of thing, you can organize it all through the Media tab. The next button down is the Links tab. These are links that you can choose to include in your content. It's a feature least used by WordPress users, but they chose to leave it in the available features list. There's really no advantage to using this over just creating a hyperlink, as I showed you in the post creation, so we're not going to really cover this at all. The next button down is Pages. Now this is what a lot of portfolio users choose to use on their site. Rather than doing posts, they choose to do pages. I'm actually going to go ahead and set up a welcome page by editing the sample page. I'm going to change this to welcome. So, well, I can type, not at all. I'm going to say welcome to my blog. Welcome to my portfolio. Again, I can do whatever I want here. I'm actually going to choose to include this page in the list of all pages. You'll notice that by default, there's a plugin that's been installed by the administration for the network that you can choose to exclude pages from the top. Now this is useful in case you have a bunch of pages and maybe you don't want one to show up at the very top up here in the list of pages. You can choose to uncheck that and it won't show up there. Now I'm going to go ahead and publish this, or I'll update it, I guess, since we're updating the sample page. And you'll notice that when I refresh, or just go back to the home page, we have chosen to not include it, so it would not be there. Once I include that, though, I can come back to here, and we'll see that we now have a welcome page. When I click on this, we just have a little welcome to my portfolio with an edit button. Now this is an edit button that normal users wouldn't see. Just when you as the administrator are logged in, you'll see that. Coming back here, I'm going to actually add a picture. Just for fun here, just demonstrate that. And add media. You'll notice, I forgot to mention that, you'll notice that there's only one button now on WordPress for media. This will cover all ranges of media. So we're going to go ahead and select files this time. From my desktop, I'm going to choose example picture. Just like that, it's crunching down here, 99% done. Now you can see the image. We have a little more options here than we did before. We can choose alternate text. This is used for HTML if somebody puts their mouse over it. It's used for the disabled. Their computer will read them what the image is about. I'm going to put alternate text, image of Southern. The caption on the image, I can choose to put a caption underneath it. I'm going to put also image of Southern. Description, I'm not going to put one. I can choose to do the alignment. Now the interesting part about this is I can do no alignment, which the image will just go wherever I put it. Or if I want it to be left of the text, if I have a bunch of text and I want it to be to the left where the text goes around it on the right, I can choose that. If I want text to be on both sides of it, I can do center. And likewise, if I want the text to be on the left of it, I can do right. I'm just going to go ahead and put none. And I'd kind of like it to be large. Now this could be a little bit too large for my WordPress here, but we're just going to give that a chance. I'm going to go insert into post. And you'll notice now that below my welcome to my portfolio, we have the image with the caption, image of Southern. Interestingly enough, right here in the caption, that's editable text, so I don't even have to go back into the picture properties to edit that. Image of Southern. Put a dash in there. Let's say I want to edit the size of the image afterwards. I can do that by clicking on the image. You'll notice that two buttons come up, delete and a little picture. If I click that picture, I get a slightly different edit image page where I can choose 100% of the size, all the way down to 60%, or 130. Adjust the size right here. I'm going to leave it at 100 and hit cancel. Now if I update that, you'll see that we now have a picture right on our homepage. Users can click on that and they'll get the full-sized image. If you want them to disable that clicking, all you have to do is come up here and click that little button next to the hyperlink, which breaks the hyperlink. And now you will see, well, I'm actually viewing the image, now you'll see on here that it's no longer clickable. I want to touch really quick on the publishing options. This applies to all posts as well as all pages. You can choose the visibility, whether you want to password protect a page or make the page private. Private would mean only you could see it. Password protect, obviously, you would have to give users the password in case you want them to be able to get into that. You can control who views it this way, which is a really handy feature, or everybody can see it. You can also choose the state. You don't have to publish it in case you want it to just be a draft, or if you were working with someone higher up in your site and you were just a user, you could do pending review. Being that we're WordPress network, we don't use that feature, so we're just going to go ahead and leave it as published. We also have the option of choosing when it was published. Let's say we want it to be published tomorrow. Now it's scheduled to be published tomorrow. If we hit schedule, then it will disappear off our page and only show up tomorrow at 22:09. What if we wanted to post yesterday? Our blog wasn't even created yesterday. But if we do update that, then I'm not sure if this particular theme shows the date or not. It appears it does not. But themes that do show the date would show the date being yesterday. So I want to add a new page here just for a demonstration. I'm going to add some other content to that page. I call it example video or just video. Say I want to add a couple different types of video. Let's say I want to add my own video file. I'm going to select files. I have a little By Your Side by 10th Avenue North video. Now this is a little bit larger, and this will probably be the case for you as well. You'll see that it has to take time to upload. Now what that's going to do is that's going to bring a link right here on your page, and I'm going to demonstrate that. But what that's going to do is there's going to be a link to By Your Side. And users, when you upload a video, it will not display inside of the page, but when they click on that, they'll be given the option to either view it or download it. That can be nice if you want to share a video that you would like users to be able to keep. They can right-click on that and click Save As, much like they can with here. They can click Save Image As. They can just click Save Target As. That text will vary depending on the browser. Also, I'm going to demonstrate, after this video uploads, how to embed a video, such as from a site like YouTube or Vimeo, into your own WordPress blog. Now that we have this 100% done, it's going to ask me different content on it. I'm going to go ahead and say insert into post rather than saving. If I save, it won't go into the post. I'm actually going to demonstrate that really quick. Let's say you hit save all changes and you forget. In the new version of WordPress, rather than just closing it, it now brings you to the gallery, where it shows all of the videos that you have. You go insert into post directly from here. Like I said, it brings up a hyperlinkable By Your Side. Let's say I also want to put a YouTube video. For the sake of the moment, I've selected the top video on YouTube, which happens to be State of the Union address that happened this week. I'm simply going to copy, demonstrate that again, copy, back to my page, get rid of that, and demonstrate the pasting. I'm going to right-click, paste. It is literally as simple as pasting that URL. You would expect it to show up like a URL. However, WordPress knows that you've pasted a YouTube link. When you publish this site, come back here, go to the home page to see it. Yep, now we have a video page. I click on that. Two things have appeared. One, it has recognized the YouTube link, given us a viewable movie that we can just click on. Users can view that right within your site. Or you can click on the By Your Side, and I'm not going to actually wait for that to load because it would try to play the video in the browser, but that would bring up the video that people could watch. Back to WordPress here. I would like to demonstrate a little bit how to organize your pages. Let's say you want to have a page within a page. For example, you want to have welcome be a drop-down of video. What I mean by that is when you hover over video, welcome would be an option right down here. The easy and simple way to do that would be to go back to pages. I'm actually going to switch those and put video inside of welcome. So I'm going to come back here to video. Now you'll notice that under page attributes, there are templates, which we won't use. Those are more advanced blogging features, as well as parent. Now if I choose welcome as the parent and I update that, then when I come back to the home page, you'll notice that video is gone. However, when I hover over welcome, now there's video under there. This can be useful if you want to have a category up here and like 5 or 6 pages below it. You can just set the category page as the parent, and then all of the ascending videos will show under that. I would also like to touch for a moment on organizing your pages up at the top. So in order to do that, I'm going to remove video from being a child of welcome. Update there. Going back to pages, you'll see we have 2. Let's say I would like to organize them. I want video to be on this side. The best way that I can describe how this works would be to do a quick edit and notice the order. The order is 0 for this one, and the order is also 0 for this one. That means that WordPress is going to organize them however it wants, generally by date, I believe, or it could be by name as well. So, by the way, the quick edit feature is a very handy feature if you just want to change maybe the date or the password, make it private. Choose to allow comments. We did not disable comments, but in the new version of WordPress, you don't have to actually uncheck it in the page. It's now uncheckable directly from the quick edit. So I'm going to update that so the comments are enabled. Now, if I want to change the order, what I'm going to do is set an order up here. Now, what the order is you can do 0 to any number you want, uh, and you can do it in whatever interval you want. I'm going to choose to do an intervals of 5. That way, in case I add a page later and I want it to be between one page and another, I can just put maybe that new page is number 4, and then it would be between 0 and 5. So if I set this one to 5, and I know that that's confusing, I'm going to explain that here in the next moment. When I refresh this now, you'll see that video is now on the outside because it has a greater order than welcome, which has a 0. Any number, I mean, I could set video to be a 1, order of 1, and it would still be greater than 0, so it would still be on the outside. The reason I don't do them in order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if I had 5 pages, would be, what if I created a new page and I wanted it to be in between these two? Well, if this is 0 and this is 1, I can't create 0.5 and put it in between them. So I choose to do them in orders of 5, or you can do 10, or whatever interval you like. And that way, if I have the option to add 5 more pages in between them without having to reorder everything. So I'm going to go ahead here and set this to 10, just because that's a solid number. Go up to 100, whatever you like. You'll see that that's still on the outside. Let's demonstrate really quick, creating this one and making it 11. We'll just change it back. In theory, it should because it has a higher order. And indeed, it did. So we're going to go ahead and set that one back to 0. And that's how you organize the pages on your WordPress portfolio. The next tab down is comments. Comments are the comments that you have received. If you've disabled them, you probably won't notice any here. I'm just going to go ahead actually and trash that one because it's just an anonymous comment by the WordPress default. Let's talk a moment about customizing your blog. The next tab down is Appearance. Now this has many different features. This will show you all of the available themes. There's 41 available. If you just scroll down through here, you'll see kind of a small preview of what they look like. If you'd like to see a big preview, you can actually click on the big preview button. I'm going to do that here with this one. There's a little loading dialog. And then you'll see it actually puts some of your content in here and shows you what your site would look like with your pages. I think that looks pretty cool, so I'm going to go Activate up here. Activate Flashy is what this theme is called. Now when I refresh my blog here, click on Home to refresh, now you'll see it's now using that new theme. Installing themes is as simple as scrolling down through and clicking on Activate. Switching to a different one here, just to demonstrate that. When I click on Home now, you'll notice that we're now using that new theme. This one's a little bit more simple. I don't know that I like it. So I'm going to scroll back down through and reactivate that one that I did like. As I said, there's 40 different themes. That number could be different per network. I'm just going to click on here. You can see page 2 of themes. If you do want to get the 2011 theme back, that's usually on the second page towards the bottom. You can just click Activate there. I want to talk a moment about widgets. Widgets are what would appear on your site. I'm going to refresh this, go back to this. I want to actually bring this up since this theme has changed something here. Themes, every theme is different. Themes are written by users, so their interaction with WordPress cannot be guaranteed by WordPress. This particular theme has removed our home page, our home button. This can be handy as well as not. Let's say you want to, some people have a problem with having 2 home buttons because WordPress puts one and then they name a page called home. You could find a theme like this one that doesn't have the home button, and then you would solve that issue. I'm going to go back here now and talk about widgets for a moment. If I actually hit the refresh button on my blog, you'll see we should be back to our other theme, which does indeed have a home button. Now widgets are what can go on the side and sometimes on the bottom, depending on the theme. It doesn't appear that this theme supports it. But widgets are simple things that would appear in this widgets area. We can do a calendar, for instance. We can do categories. I'm not going to cover all of the widgets. You can go through and read the description on some of these. But I'm going to go through and drag out what's already in there and place some new widgets in. I'm going to go ahead and add a calendar. I can choose to say my calendar for the title. Save that. I can do even text if I want. I can just say latest news or something. In case I want it to appear on all pages, I can say read the news from the link below. Now, if you want to put a link, it's a little bit harder to do that. Let's say I want to put a link to my own site in there. I'm just going to copy that and paste that. Now, it will not be hyperlinkable, so people will have to hyperlink that for you. If you would like to have that clickable, you would have to do some advanced HTML. You would have to look up hyperlinking in HTML and get the hyperlink code. That's a more advanced feature, and you may want to have somebody with more expertise help you with that. Or if you've already taken a web class or something like that, it should be easy enough to figure out. I'm going to go ahead and save that little text. I'm going to click the arrow to close this one as well. I would also like to add the pages. In case you couldn't see at the top, here's a list of my pages. Save that. You can choose to sort by page title or page order or page ID. You can even choose to exclude page IDs separated by comments. We'll talk about page IDs in a moment. Now you'll notice that when I refresh this, now that's frustrating. It appears this is a bad demonstration for the video, but we have a theme here that feels the need to take control of the widgets on its own. The unfortunate part about this is that you don't have nearly as much customization of the widgets as you would in a different theme. You'll notice that it did indeed put the latest news that I said, the My Calendar and the My Pages, but for some reason it feels the need to automatically always have recent posts and the feed. Now if I were to come back here and go to a different theme, which I'm going to demonstrate really quick, let's switch to Cocoa. Activate that, go back up here, click on Home. Now you'll see on Cocoa, it actually listened and only did the widgets that I chose. That's actually a common practice, is to only do the widgets that the user chooses. Very rarely do you see a theme that feels the need to inject its own widgets. That would be one of the first that I have ever seen. Talk about menus for a moment. Let's say you want to do a custom menu. Now, a theme has to support a custom menu, or you can add the menu to the side. I'm going to demonstrate that one since this theme doesn't support it. If a theme did support it, then you wouldn't have any buttons at the top unless you created a menu. But creating a menu, I'm going to do main menu. That's just the name that you would use. Nobody will see that. I'm going to go ahead and create the menu. The nice part about this is if I want to add categories or pages, I can do that directly from here. Now to view all categories, I have to click View All. And I see Personal, and I'm going to hit Add to Menu. I'm also going to choose to add both the video and the welcome buttons to the menu. Now, within the menu, if I want video to be underneath welcome, without actually having to make it apparent, I can just, you notice how I just drag this here, I just drag it out a little bit, and then it catches. Notice the little rectangular box catches on the outside. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this menu. I have made a new menu. You can make as many menus as you want by clicking the plus. Coming back to widgets over here, you'll see that I can actually drag a widget called Menu, Custom Menu, and I can choose different, call it a different menu, and I can choose to choose my main menu. Now when I come back here to my video demo, click on that, or you can click on the welcome button. Actually, you'll notice that there is not a home button on this theme either. That would be because it chose to hyperlink the name of your blog as the home. It takes you. Now we have a different menu down here. You can choose to click on Personal, and you'll notice that since I drug that out and let it catch on the inside of Welcome, now it's nested under Welcome. So I haven't actually made it the parent like I did before, because up here are the two separate links, but if I want to have them categorized differently in my separate menu, that's how you would do so. Plugins are not manageable by different user accounts, so I'm not going to talk about those for a minute. There are some default ones that come with that in case your systems administrator has installed some for you. You can read through what those do. I wouldn't recommend messing with those too much because it could mess with your blog. Users, you can actually add new users to your site, but since we're on a WordPress network, those aren't relevant either, so we're not going to talk about that. Tools, you can choose to import and export your site. What that means is if you have posts or comments in another system, you can export them, which I'm going to demonstrate here. You can choose to export all content. You would export it, and then you would choose to import it onto your new site that way. Going down to settings, this is going to be an area that you're going to want to touch as well. We have a tagline, which, as you'll see, is just another social work portfolio site. That's the default one set by the network. You can choose to change that to whatever you want. I'm going to put here a video demonstration site. As my email address, you can choose to change that to whatever you want. You can choose to change the date format, as well as, it's probably going to give me a hard time about the email, because that's not a real email. You can choose the time format as well. Now writing is the next thing down in settings. This will be basic settings, the size of the text box when you're editing. You can choose to make emoticons out of different things like the smiley face or the sticking out the tongue. You can choose the default category if you have multiple. I'm going to choose personal since I'll probably do personal posts. You can choose the default link category, which we didn't use links, so that's irrelevant. I'm going to save those changes as well. Now the reading tab is the big thing that a lot of portfolio users are going to want to change. By default, WordPress chooses to have your latest posts be on your homepage. If you notice here, these are my latest posts as well as the date. I don't want them to do that. I want to make a portfolio, so what I'm going to do is set a static homepage. I'm going to choose welcome to be my static homepage and no posts page. If I do want to have a page that shows all of my posts, I would just go to Pages, Add New, and call that page, posts with nothing else on it. And then I would come in here and choose Posts page I made, and then I would have a link up here that said Posts. Now when I clicked on that, it would show exactly what we see on this page here. I can choose to show as many as I want, 15 posts at most. I can choose to do full text or just a summary as well. So that's going to be the big change you're going to want to notice, is the change to a static home page. This makes it more like a website and a lot less like a blog. That's useful if you want to create a portfolio instead of just a blog. Now you'll see when I go to my URL, instead of seeing my latest posts, instead I see the welcome page. I can put whatever I want as well. The rest of these can be left up to the discretion of the user. You can read through all of the discussion things. Anybody can post a comment. You can disable that and such. Choose how deep nested threads will go. All these are things that are more advanced, and if you choose to go through them, you can either Google them or just experiment with them on your own. Media tab down here. You can choose the thumbnail size and all of that good stuff for uploading pictures. Privacy, that tab here is going to show us whether you want search engines to be able to index your site or not. Now, if you choose to not index your site, this will help cut down on spam a lot. It doesn't block access, but certain sites like Google have the option to be asked to not index, and they'll refrain from doing so. That doesn't stop certain low-level site search engines from indexing you if they don't have that option, but at least it does help. You also have a maintenance mode. If you're working on it, you can turn maintenance mode on. You can activate it and hit save. You can choose how long it is till it tells people. I'm going to actually just do that and show you what that looks like. I'm going to do 5 days, 2 hours, and 0 minutes. Notice that now when I refresh my site, I still see my site because I'm logged in. But if I log out by clicking up here, hovering over my account, clicking log out, now I see a maintenance mode. Please try again in 5 days, 2 hours, and 0 minutes. And it tells me when that is. Now, how do I log in if I am unable to do that? Well, we have a couple different options. I'm going to choose to go back to my email and type and click on this link here that we got from the new site. I click on that link. It says maintenance mode is active. However, I can still input video. I'm going to paste my password, which I will need to copy because we have not yet changed it, which I'm going to demonstrate next. Copy the password. Paste the password. Still don't want to remember it. Let's talk about changing that password really quick. If I go to hover over users, you'll see yourself. It has my email, my role on my own site. If I click on that name, it gives me some options. I can set all my contact information. But the important part that I'm looking for is I can change my password down here. I'm going to put test for my password. I'm going to put anything else on there so that not everybody watching the video can log into the video site. Profile updated. So in a nutshell, what we've discussed in this video is all the basic features of a WordPress blog. We've discussed all of the different buttons that the dashboard covers, as well as how to set up a portfolio in the best way possible. We talked about how to upload documents to your site, how to format them appropriately. We've talked about how to attach documents to a site for people to download by just inserting them into the post. And we've talked about how to customize the look of the site as well as widgets and that kind of thing. Any further site information or requests can be submitted by email to your local site administrator, who you can find out who that is from your local faculty in your department. And that can be accessed through southern.edu. Thank you so much for watching the video.